Are you a caregiver who dwells on nothing but problems and challenges? Because there are a lot of problems and challenges. Are you investing your thoughts and your time focusing on all the problems you have to deal with instead of thinking about solutions? Because while it is so easy to allow problems to distract the mind, we all do it, continually focusing on and thinking about problems reduces the ability to actually solve the problems, because all of the mental energy is directed to challenges, to things that a person may be unhappy about, people who upset us, tasks we may not want to do. And so, as a result, we get stressed out. Headaches, stomach aches, feeling exhausted, craving junk food, losing our patience, not sleeping well. So, what does all this mean? Are we focusing too much on the negative? If you're in a situation like this, do you have a bias toward negativity rather than positivity and hope? Are you allowing your thoughts and your judgments and your opinions about things to get you emotionally upset, emotionally hooked around nothing but problems rather than solutions to solve the problems? So, stay with me while I share one tip that you can use today to stop allowing life situations to affect your physical and your mental well-being. We're going to look at if there's a tendency toward negativity and what can be done about it. Because if you can work through the worries and the stress and the anxiety of caregiving, you can have a much happier and more fulfilling life. I know this. If this is your first time on my channel, I'm Pamela D Wilson, a caregiving expert, advocate, and speaker with 25 years of professional experience helping older adults and their caregivers navigate the health, financial, and legal aspects of caring, including all the complexities and messy family relationships. I do this through education, speaking, and virtual one-on-one consultations with families. I also serve as an expert witness for attorneys, individuals, law firms in cases of guardianship, conservatorship, power of attorney, care management, home care, elder abuse, and neglect. So, what is it that causes the mind to focus on problems instead of solutions? Well, the answer is fear and what's called negativity bias. The brain tends to fear the unknown. And until we train the brain to work in a different manner, it's going to keep doing that. Past experiences that any person has that were negative can impact the brain and the mind and the way the mind thinks. We have to train the mind to be solution-oriented versus negative problem focused. So, the brain and all of our thought patterns have the desire to think about things in our past, painful or negative experiences that we relive and we relive and we relive, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Research confirms it. Negative emotions last way longer than a positive experience or positive emotion. People spend a lot of time thinking about negatives versus positives. Having what's called a negativity bias can affect, and not in a good way, caregiver and caregiver relationships and perceptions of reality and situations that may be causing problems. How often do you allow the ups and the downs of life to have a greater effect on your life than necessary? How do you know if you tend to have a little bit or a lot of a negativity bias? Well, here's a few questions to ask yourself. Do you focus more on criticisms and insults than compliments or positive statements? Do you dwell on unpleasant or traumatic events? Do you relive them and relive them and relive them? Are your thoughts more attractive to negative versus positive information? Are you waiting for that next bad thing to happen? How much time do you spend, on the other hand, being thankful and showing gratitude for the good things in your life and spending time every day in positive thought versus worry and all that negativity? How often do you feel anxious or you're swept away by negative thinking and you can't refocus your thoughts? If any of this sounds familiar, you may have a negativity bias that you can change. So, a common example of a negativity bias is the news and the news media. Okay, we are all affected by it if we allow ourselves to be affected by it. Negative news is dominating. Social media, television, radio, apps, online news pages. It is there to grab your attention because emotions are more easily drawn to negative information and threats and fear. The news, it wants you to be afraid because it can then command more attention and more time. My advice, don't allow that. Do not allow yourself and your mind to be captured by people who want you to focus on negative events and who want you to live in fear and worry. That is no way to live. So, in addition to being exposed to negativity through the news, you may have negative people in your family, at your place of work, at school. Maybe some of your friends have gone toward like the negative cliff. The negative person that you care for may complain all the time. They may not appreciate you. Or you may have a negative or controlling sibling who wants to drive an emotional wedge between you and another brother or sister, or between you and an elderly parent. Start saying no to being dragged into negative and divisive behaviors. That's no way to live a positive and a happy life. And if you're anxious and worried and negative all the time, you probably know that. So what is the logical thing to do here? The logical thing to do is practice and retrain your brain to eliminate all of this negativity bias, so that when you hear things or see things, you suspend your judgment that gets you emotionally hooked around these patterns of problems and negativity and anxiety, and the world is coming to an end, and oh my gosh, right? So, here's a practical way to do it. Let's say you watch the news. Well, you can start retraining your brain by start asking questions about the opinions you hear on the news. Seek information about the opposite perspective to see if the information being presented is accurate, if it's leaving out important information, or if it's plain false. Because again, where does the news want you to go? Fear, worry, negativity. Start looking at both sides and start debating some of this information to say, hey, is this real? Because you know the news is negative. You can begin doing this in all of your caregiving situations. Something happens with mom or dad, your brother or sister calls, get a phone call from the doctor's office, right? Instead of like, oh my God, it's going to be bad, instead of immediately reacting and thinking you know what the situation is, pause and ask yourself, okay, what's really going on here? Am I freaking out because I tend to go to the negative and the worry? What if it's not bad? What is the motivation of this person who called? Are they just trying to give me some information? Is there a problem? Maybe it's good news. What's going on here? even to the extent of asking about the beliefs of a person. Is their motivation good? Are their beliefs accurate? Or might we need to do a little more research or become a little more educated? And I say this because people that caregivers interact with, their interactions are based on their experience. This is the same for all of us, right? What we do every day is based on our past experiences and our relationships with people and everything that we know. But it's important for us to admit that we don't know everything. So maybe if we think that things have to be a certain way and this is the only way that they can be them, this way, maybe there's a different way. Start asking, well, what if this were true? Or what if it was different? Rather than immediately going to, oh my gosh, this is a catastrophe. The world is falling apart. I can't manage this. Stop and reflect a little bit before you react. Do that for 24 hours sometimes. Maybe you need to do it for a couple of days if it's like something really upsetting. You would be surprised how much more balanced you can be and how less upset outside life circumstances will make you. Go to the extent of creating a list of questions that you need to ask yourself every time something comes up, or you feel worried, or you feel anxious. Am I thinking about this situation the right way? Is there something I don't know? Is there a different perspective? Do I have all the facts? Or am I letting my emotions drag me into this negative spiral where I'm going to be up, down, all over the place and angry at people and really not feeling good about myself? From a personal standpoint, every time your brain goes to the negative, stop it and say, look, you don't get to do that. I am in control of my thoughts. I choose to be happy. I choose to think differently. I choose to think more positive thoughts. And I choose to be grateful for everything in my life so that all of these up and downs have less of an effect on my emotions and my ability to do things and my ability to get things done and my interactions with other people, because I want to have a good life. I want to be able to manage through difficult life situations and avoid seeing difficulties as impossible problems or problems that I cannot possibly solve. Yes, you can. Stay connected with your friends who can provide support. Accept that life is going to constantly change. It does for all of us, right? Gain the competence and the skill to keep things in perspective and maintain a hopeful outlook. Take care of yourself. Don't let negative people and negative things and limited beliefs and narrow-minded people sway you. Because if you get into those patterns, it is going to be so hard to get out unless somebody else can lift you up and help you see differently, and unless you're really willing to see differently. The more that you can detach from a situation and look at it objectively, the more hope you will have in your life, the less negative situations will affect you, and the better caregiver of other people and, more importantly, yourself you will be. All the ups and downs in life, sure, they may have a little effect on you, but they're not going to affect you as significantly as they are today. So you have to ask yourself, how are you allowing life situations to affect you, and how will you take control of this and manage it? I'm Pamela D Wilson. I'm a caregiving expert, advocate, and speaker with 25 years of experience. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. There is a lot of hope, help, support, inspiration for caregivers, practical and proven advice there. Please do like this video, follow my channel, comment, even if it's only to say thank you. One little thank you helps other people find their way here.